Okay, what's up, people? Welcome back to another stream. Hope everyone is doing well. As always, guys, if you're enjoying the content, please be sure to drop a like, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell as well so you don't miss out on any streams or uploads in the future. And of course, make sure you do check out the Elevating Traders Discord channel, completely free to join. Link to that is at the top of the chat. You cannot miss it. It's also in the description below. You can find updates there. Discount opportunities are available there as well for Elevating Traders Challenge accounts. And of course, you can chat to myself, other traders as well, about different trading opportunities. So if you are interested, make sure you go check it out. But guys, good morning. Hope everyone is well. Kadam, good morning. Hope you're well. Okay, yeah, we'll go through the Euro USD. I'll re-enter the position, but I am holding Euro USD longs, but we'll go through that. Do not worry. Will, good morning. Hope you're well. Welcome to the stream. Tony Gold, welcome to the stream. Hope you're doing good, and everyone else, of course. So, I guess we'll start with the USD pairs because that's kind of where my interest lies as well. Gold and Bitcoin and markets like that we'll touch upon as well. But yeah, I did exit and then re-enter my Euro USD position. Excuse me, my voice is a bit croaky today. I did exit, re-enter my Euro USD position from yesterday after we had that strong shift of momentum. I exited the trade, but then I re-entered after I got the next signal at the same level. And yeah, we did see a bit of a move to the upside. I'm not yet removing risk. I'm waiting for price to come back into the high there, which is kind of where my first target is. And then I'll look to probably go break even and see if I can get it back to that high up there, because that's kind of where my initial target is for the trade, back until 1.09400 and potentially further as well. But it does look like dollar is having a hard time at breaking through the level we were discussing before. If I go to the daily chart, you can see yesterday's candle as well. Nice wick to the upside, even the day before as well on Monday. Still rejecting that same area around 104,500. So I do expect to see some downside here for dollar. Now, it might not be the biggest move in the world, but I do expect to see some retracement because it's been such a big move to the upside. The market's quite stretched. And in FX, we tend to not stay stretched for too long before having a correction. How big that correction will be, when it will happen, that's a question which we'll only know the answer to when it does happen. But we're at a strong area of resistance. We're already seeing some signs of failure to break through. This is a good sign that the market can see some downside. We've also broken outside of this descending channel as well. Not the cleanest break, the most momentum. If that candle can fill the wick, that would be great. But we are breaking through there to the downside. So again, that's another sign that the market is struggling. And of course, we had that kind of triple top there. 1, 2, excuse me, and 3 there as well. So the market is really struggling at breaking through that high. So that's a strong sign that, okay, 104.5 is a big level for the dollar. We're struggling to break through that. And we're starting to see some nice bearish momentum, and especially breaking through that ascending channel there. So now I am looking for a bit of a move to the downside for the dollar. The key thing is just momentum, really, because if the market does start to form a big wick and say we close strongly bullish, that would be a little bit of a warning sign there. But the market has shifted bearish. If that wick can fill, that'd be great. We still got 55 minutes before that 4H candle does close. So that would be interesting to see. But yeah, really nice momentum, nice rejection of the high. And yeah, I'm expecting to see some downside from this area and expect some retracement. So I'm looking for some downside in dollar. So if you take that consideration into the other USD pairs, so for example, Euro USD, looking for some upside. I've already talked about the reasoning behind why I'm going long at this specific area. Nice level support there. We've got the ascending trend line here, first test, second test, third test, and of course anticipating that fourth bounce. And hopefully we can see a push back into this high, but I will be looking to lock in some gains at that first level on the 4 hour. Looking at some other USD pairs, for example, like pound USD, expecting to see a bit of upside for this one. This one actually did see a bit of upside, a bit more than euro, because you had a bit of a sell-off at some point. But we have seen a bit of upside, so it looks a bit corrective here. The key thing is, though, it looks like market is kind of breaking out that channel, though, but not the strongest breakout per se. So I would like to see a bit more momentum here for pound USD. I think the key thing is that we're still kind of holding on to support here Now it's turning resistance, so the market is got a bit of an obstacle in its way. But should we break above that, that would be a strong sign that, okay, pound USD is probably going to see a bit of upside here. Again, I still do expect a lower high to form at some point and the market to come straight back down, most likely. But at least there might be some short-term buys to take advantage of, followed by some short-term sells or longer-term sells. So that's kind of what I'm looking at for pound USD. If we have a look at Aussie dollar there as well, yeah, nice strong closure there on the 4 hour, nice candlestick closure. Again, the market has been falling for quite a long time now, so again, it looks pretty stretched to me. We're likely going to find some upside at some point. I have spoken about a retest of this low here. That to me looks like a likely place for the market to get back towards. So again, if USD is going to fall a little bit, that should help out Aussie dollar to get moved back into that same level. And then, yeah, we probably will find resistance there and continue. Like I said, I do think the bigger move for Aussie dollar is still to the downside. Since we've broken through that low, this is now the next big level for me, which is around 0.63800. So I do expect to see price make a way towards that level, and there could be some nice retests and some nice entries on the retest of that same level. And looking at NZD USD as well, this one's kind of doing the same thing, although we probably won't get the retest of the low, which is all the way up there. That'll be a pretty big move for us to see, which could happen. I don't think we've got any major NZD news this week, but if the market does want to retrace, the level is there and waiting. We might see more kind of more micro pullbacks, something like this to test this level here and then be on our way. That could be the case, but either which way, I do think a bit of a pullback is likely and then some more downside, and same with my euro position as well. So all in all, I do think dollar weakness has kind of arrived a little bit, expecting a bit more of it though on dollar because the candle is leaving a bit of a wick. So I'm looking to see if that can fill, or at least the next candle after it. But to me, it does look like we are struggling to see some dollar strength at the moment, and markets are looking to turn around. Dollar CAD, though, still fighting high. I think CAD is a bit weak, to be honest. So that's kind of helping to push us higher. I think it'll be interesting to see how the weekly candle closes, because we haven't had a successful candle closure above this particular price here, around 1.38860 for a long time. You know, since we created that resistance in October 2022, the market has failed to get a candlestick closure above that. And right now, this week's candle is trading above that area. So I think a candle closure above that is pretty significant. Not to say that we are suddenly just going to break out, but it might be a bigger push higher first. Maybe might take out that wick. So that could be something of interest. But by the end of the week, if we do pull back and close bearish, that's just going to leave a big wick. And I'll be expecting the following week for us to see a lot of downside on that regard there. So dollar CAD still in a big area for shorts. And I do think we'll probably see some downside at some point. It's just the market's still looking pretty bullish. So I would not be looking to jump into shorts just yet. But it looks like we're slowly gearing up towards that possibility. And then, yeah, looking at gold and silver, gold just flew to the upside yesterday. Looks like there is no stopping gold. But now that we've broken through the high and we've done it so aggressively and with a lot of momentum, it means that now the retest, which I was talking about, which is the retest of the high here, 2680, that's now done and dusted. Now I'm actually more concentrated on the retest of this high, which is now 2757. And the past, I think, 4 retests we just haven't seen with gold. So here we didn't see the retest. Here we didn't see the retest. Here we didn't see the retest. So I'm hoping now the 4th time lucky we'll see the retest. And that's just the condition of the market. If it's very, very bullish, you're not going to get the bigger pullbacks. Eventually, you will get the bigger pullback. But because gold has been gold, and it's kind of in that exponential kind of bullish trend, it could just let fly. For FX, if this was Euro USD, you're more likely to see those bigger pullbacks, and fortunately with those markets. But gold right now, in these conditions anyway, it might be a bit difficult. But I'm ready and waiting. I look at multiple pairs. Gold is one of them. If it is going to be kind enough to get me that retest, fantastic. I'll be looking for some opportunities on that high. And yeah, to take it to the upside. And now this becomes my new area of interest, really, with gold. Really like the breakout. Big candle there. So looking at opportunities on the retest. And if you have a quick look at silver as well, yeah, silver not quite. I was looking for the retest of the high here, still am. we haven't created new highs yet, so the opportunity isn't invalidated. Should silver see a big move to the downside there, I'll still very much be looking to take some buys. Yeah, silver's probably going to follow what gold is doing and break the high, and that's the case, then that will become my new area of interest, and I'll speak about some pullbacks there as well. But the key thing is that we're still seeing a lot of momentum in these big drives forward. So if we can see another one of those pushing higher, that'd be great. Pullbacks, and then yeah, more upside. So still very bullish on gold, bullish on silver. But yeah, my new kind of area of focus now is 27.57, and hopefully you can get some pullbacks into that area. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with the USD side of things. What's up, John? Welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. Gold and euro pound, okay. What's up, Kwame? Welcome to the stream. Holy One, what is up? Okay, CAD seat chef, New Zealand yen buy. It's another trade. Okay, so does that mean you're completely out of the market at the moment? I mean, we'll get to those pairs in a moment. But yeah, that's kind of what I'm looking at for gold after this breakout. Now this becomes my new focus really, but in terms of direction, it's pretty much self-explanatory with gold. Just looking at more upside, push, pullback, and looking for opportunities on the retest of structure really. Otherwise, this is just a market that's flying, and of course, we've got a touch on Bitcoin, which is doing Bitcoin things right now. A really big push to the upside. It has absolutely broken out of this descending channel, and it hasn't quite made new all-time highs, but it's very, very close to doing that. The all-time highs is around, or at least here anyway, 73,786, and we got very, very close to making new all-time highs there. Very, very close to seeing that. And probably some amount of time before we are actually going to pinch the high. Maybe we see it happen today. But what I can say is that we've left behind some really nice structure here. If the market is going to be kind enough to see some downside and retest it, I think that's a great place for a buy. And yeah, to take a Bitcoin higher. If we do see a big break up the high here, that could be a nice place for some retests as well. But the key thing is that this is going to be the breakout for Bitcoin. We're expecting some, exponential price action like we did here. So, if we can see some minor pullbacks like we did over there or over here, or even that kind of bigger one there, you're kind of expecting or at least looking out for some type of corrections like that when we do have this breakout as well. And we can ride that and find some entries there as well. But at the moment, yeah, really confident break of the high of the channel, and has left behind some really nice structure around 70, 69K. So if Bitcoin was kind enough to come back and retest that, I think that's a nice place to look for some entries. And yeah, and just see how far I can take Bitcoin, because who knows? Who knows? We've got 80K not too far away, which is thereabout. We've got 90K. And of course, we've got the infamous 100K there as well. Who knows? We could be trading at these prices sooner than people think. So yeah, we're looking really bullish, pullbacks, and yeah, expecting a lot more upside there as well. Had a brief look at the indices as well. They're starting to look a little bit bullish. Well, US 100 is, US 30 not so much, but then again, I do think US 30's got a bit of room to the downside first before we have a bigger push to the upside. I still like this zone here around 41,800. The market looks like it's struggling a lot with these lower highs here. So to me, I do think we'll have one more push down, probably take out the lows there and then see the bigger move. But because I'm looking at the bigger picture here, the daily chart, the weekly chart, everything to me still looks really, really bullish there. So I would only be looking at upsides here for the Dow Jones. US 100 had a nice push to the upside, looking a little bit cleaner than US 30. I don't know why it's taking forever to load. Okay, US 30 is loading there. I have no idea. I can just use the markets on the right here. Yeah, I don't know why it's taking forever. But yeah, NAS 100 is looking a lot better. NAS 100 is looking a lot better to the upside. I think Holy One was in a trade there actually. Have we made new highs? No, we haven't. So yeah, with NAS as well, confident move to the upside. We're probably going to come and test the high and see some new highs at some point as well. So I got the high around 2600, 2700, just very, very close to testing that. Might see an intraday pullback before we get there, which could provide some opportunities on the lower time frames. But to me, this looks like price is getting ready for a big push and probably a big breakout as well. So yeah, to me, NAS 100 looking really bullish, expecting a lot more upside and probably some new highs there as well. With S&P, okay, now it's working now. With S&P as well, this one again still looks pretty bullish to me, but I'm just not seeing opportunities to trade it. We had a nice retest not long ago of the high there, which looked good. Prices bounced from that. Now it's kind of back inside that range again, so I wouldn't really look to touch the price action there with S&P. At least looking for entries inside of that area just looks a little bit too noisy for me. But in terms of direction, do you think we'll probably see a break of the high pretty soon? And yeah, probably see a bit more upside in that regard as well. Okay, so we'll go through some pairs people requested. So we'll take a look at Euro Pound for John. We already went for gold earlier. We'll go through CAD CHF, New Zealand as well. Okay, I only got CAD CHF sale running. Okay, we'll take a look. See what's up, Jay. Good morning. Hope you're well. Welcome to the stream. Afternoon, Antonio. Welcome to the stream. Force from UNSD. Okay, we'll take a look. What's up, man? Zondi? Welcome to the stream. Could be a bearish week for the yen pairs potentially. I mean, they've started pretty bullish, so it's going to take a lot of reversing to do for the weekly kind of to close bearish, but we'll get onto that at some point. Oh, okay, nice. What was your targets for that one? Well, actually, I think I know where your targets were. I think your targets are probably the wick high there, around 2,500. Silver, yes, we'll touch on that as well. Kwame, afternoon. Cathella, welcome to the stream. What is up? What is up? Hey, what's up, Tom? Welcome to the stream. Hope you are well. So we'll start with Euro Pound. And again, if anyone has any requests for pairs you want me to take a look at, just drop it down in the chat. But yeah, it does look like Euro Pound is, we are seeing a lot of momentum right now, but I don't want to get too excited because Euro Pound is the type of pair to show you a big candle and then just not do anything with it. As you can see over here, big candle up, came straight back down, big candle up, straight back down. Even there, big candle down, found support, pushed up again. You know, who's to say we don't push right back down after resistance? So with Euro Pound, you want to be looking for the breakouts and looking for continuations of them. If we're kind of seeing big candles within ranges, it doesn't really mean much most of the time. But with this price action, though, we are trading at significant prices here, particularly on the higher time frames, the weekly, the monthly chart. This is really, really strong levels of support, which, every time we get here for the past few years, the market has seen some really big reactions and big turning, has been a big turning point for the market. So I do think Euro Pound is likely going to see a lot of upside in the near future from this 0.83 area. So I do think if you're looking for Euro Pound opportunities, you're probably going to be fixated on the longs. If I actually go to the monthly chart, probably see it a little bit better. It's more of a monthly level anyway. So as you can see, massive level of support. We've rejected this area multiple times on multiple occasions. So I do expect to see at least a reaction to the upside, even from a monthly point of view there as well. So it's a really big level. And I'm just looking for signs that the market is about to turn around, which maybe we are starting to see that with the momentum here this morning. Maybe that's a sign that the market's getting ready. But really what I want to see is the market breaking structure, a really impressive break to the upside, and then be able to find some retest somewhere to plot some higher lows. That's the key thing I'll be looking for, because the market has been pretty bearish, and for all you know, we could be looking to form another lower high and keep falling. So I want to see those stepping stones. I want to see those higher lows being printed and the market starting to break higher. You can look for opportunities as price comes back into the low and take some buys that way. It's a bit more aggressive, but it makes sense given the fact that we're trading at a big level. So you would anticipate the market holding that and seeing some upside anyway. This would be the more conservative opportunity, but in terms of direction, I'm expecting Euro Pound to see some upside now because we're trading at a really big level. So I like Euro Pound here to the upside. at least for a retest of some of these lows here, possibly even this level here, if we really see a big reaction on the monthly chart, we could be seeing a push all the way to 0.85. I think a reasonable move to look for back into the low there on 0.838. I think that's a pretty realistic move. Could be a nice little breaking retest, ride the momentum into that high, and possibly call it a day there. But yeah, euro pound looking really bullish this morning. I do think there's a lot more upside to be had, but yeah, see, you're buying at the low or you're waiting for the breaking retest. Now's not the best time to be jumping into some buys as we come back into some resistance just above us there. But yeah, expecting a lot more upside for euro pound. In terms of CAD Chef, Holy One, you said you're short on that one currently. So yeah, it does look like the market's slowly bleeding to the downside. Not a big fan of CAD Chef. On the high time frames, yes, because I do think prices just very, very slowly getting ready for a big move back to support. So I do think that's going to be the bigger move there for CAD CHF. It's just taking its sweet, sweet time. Same with Euro CHF and some of the other CHF currency pairs as well. So I do think we're slowly bleeding, but because the market has just been moving sideways in this format here, it's been very difficult to try and find some nice trades. But this morning it does look like the market is slowly pushing down. We've been pretty consistent, to be fair, with the lower highs in this kind of area of the market. So that's nice to point out. But as we come back into support, that's kind of where I would have my worry of price turning around. Where are your targets for the trade, Holly One? I guess either the low here or maybe the low down there. Not too sure if you entered, but probably looking at one of these lows, which looks pretty good. If your low's here, I think there's a pretty good chance we do get there. Might see another reaction push up, but there's a good chance we get there anyway, even to the low of the range. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if the market's going to shoot back to the moon again and see some upside. So that's the only thing I don't like about CAD CHF. Again, you look at the high time frames, you've been falling for quite a while. I do think there's a good chance we get back to support, but trying to operate within the range is a no-go for me. But in terms of direction, yeah, I'm still pretty bearish on CAD Swiss. I do think we can see a bit more downside for that one as well. Okay, so we'll go through New Zealand yen as well. We'll take a look at Euro NZD for Antonio. We'll go through silver quickly as well. What's up, Annie? Hope you're doing good. Euro entry price. Okay, I can get that for you. Euro USD. So my entry price is 1.08 180. Is that it there? Yeah, I think so. Yeah, 1.08 180 is my second entry price. So yeah, for New Zealand yen, yeah, still consolidating. So it looks like this one's gearing up for a breakout to the upside because it's being very consistent with these higher lows. I'd imagine it's probably holding onto a nice little 50 moving average there, maybe. Yeah, it is. And I knew that because that's why Hurley One's buying it. So we are steadily pushing to the upside with these higher lows, and maybe the market's kind of squeezing like this between the resistance and the support of the trend line for possibly a big break to the upside and possibly getting ready for something like that. So that could be the case with New Zealand yen. But of course, I'll wait for that breakout and then look for the retest there for some buys, because there could be a really nice setup following that, maybe later this week, but probably next week on the retest of that structure there. So I think that would be a really nice trade to take on a breaking retest. But at the moment, we're still kind of trading into that resistance. So it is 50-50. And if the market really wants to, we could reject the high and come straight back down into that low. So we have seen some nice momentum this morning. And someone asked if we're going to see some yen pairs be bearish this week. Possibly, if we're going to reject the high here, then and see a big break of that trend line, then possibly we could end up finishing the week bearish. And let me just remove my drawings. Possibly see the weekly kind of close bearish. So that is a possibility. But again, the key thing I'm looking for is momentum. There's not much significance right now, really, with the yen pairs, and we'll go into detail with the yen pairs and look at a bunch of them. But for New Zealand yen, nice upsides. Just, yeah, I would like to see price go and break through that high first before looking at anything myself. In terms of Euro NZD, let me know what you're looking at on Euro NZD, Antonio. What's the deal for Euro NZD? You buying, selling? Let me know. I like pound NZD, and I'll get onto that at some point because that's on my watch list, and it looks like price is seeing some downside finally. But yeah, Euro NZD coming back into some major resistance here on the left here and starting to struggle a little bit. You can see the wicks there on the daily chart. I know today's candle is still moving, so it hasn't closed yet, but it is having a tough time trying to break through that high at the moment. I don't really have a clear-cut bias for Euro NZD, to be honest, because the market has been incredibly flat on the higher time frames, and the higher time frames is what I use to create a bias for myself in terms of planning my swings. So if there's no direction in the higher time frames, there is no kind of edge for me with the way I trade. So with this one, sure, there's been some nice intraday, intra-week momentum. You know, the market is ridden to the upside, maybe looking for some short-term pullbacks on the way up. But it's always just a bit tricky when we are quite sideways because we tend to find resistance, come back down, find support, come back down. So the best way to trade it is looking for some mean reversion techniques, buying high, buying low, selling high, and looking for those reactions of key areas. So with USD, probably at this point now, are we expecting to see some downside? How far? That's a difficult question. I would take it as it comes, really, because again, there's no directional bias, so there's no trend unfolding per se. But if you can get a push back down into that area there, I think that's a realistic place to see some downside and where to start to manage the trade, trail a stop loss. Up to you how you want to do that, but any further than that is kind of like a bonus if we keep selling off. So yeah, USD come back into a nice level, rejecting it pretty well. So I'm expecting to see some downside, but overall, not a big fan of the pair at all. Pound NZ looks a lot better. If I just touch on that one quickly, pound NZ, lovely push to the upside, breaking through the high there as well. I'm still looking for price to push back into 2.19, which is the high over there, which we almost got to. Looks like we're seeing some really nice downside at the moment. So in my book, I'm looking at this as a retracement. If price can come back, retest this area, high or low, that's the move I'm looking for pound NZD as well. So this one is a similar pair to USD. They tend to do the same thing really, but at least with pound NZD, I've got some clarity on the higher time frames with the higher lows. Lovely low there, another one there, another one there, another one there. So the market has been steadily rising to the upside, and that kind of gives me a bias and edge in the market. So I'm expecting support to hold and resistance to break. And now, yeah, I've got an area of interest around 2.15860, and hopefully you can ride that back to the high at 2.19. But yeah, USD, not a big fan of, personally, not a big fan of. But because of where we're trading and how we're trading, I do think we'll probably react to this high and see a bit of a drop. And in terms of silver, silver's a little bit difficult one because we're trading in the middle of nowhere a little bit. I've highlighted the nice level which I wanted to buy from, which was this area here, 32.8 roughly. I was hopefully looking for a buy from that level. Unfortunately, price kind of just missed it this week, and now it's looking relatively bullish. So I'm kind of looking for a similar opportunity with gold as with silver, because gold's already broken through the highs, looking very, very bullish now. So I'm kind of hoping for silver to do the same thing, and it tends to follow gold anyway. So hopefully silver can do the same thing, and then I can shift my focus to a breaking retest of this high rather than this level. The retest of this level is still on, so if silver was to see a push down, I'll still be very much looking to buy the market, find entries in that area and look for that next high or low. But I just don't see that move happening anymore. I think the more realistic move to look at is a break of the high and some pullbacks. If I just quickly switch to gold, gold's now broken through that high very well, big momentum. Now I'm looking for the retest of the high there, which previously was this level, was the level I was interested in, but now that is invalidated since we've made a new high. This is now my focus. So I'm kind of hoping for silver to do the same thing. And then I can find some entries on the retest of that high around 34.85. But yeah, in terms of direction, very, very bullish. We had a really concrete break past this major resistance here. So now I'm just looking for that momentum to sustain and expect more upside. But yeah, not really seeing any opportunities at the moment with silver. Okay, we'll have a look at Aussie dollar for you. Okay, going to the equal lows. Okay. Oh, wow. In at 4 a.m. and I'm still awake. Wow. Watching trades at 4 a.m. Fair play to you, Holy One. Okay, yeah, we'll take a look at pound yen and we'll go through the yen pairs a little more. Let me have a quick look at Aussie dollar as well. So Aussie dollar, I did touch on this one earlier, and essentially I'm just looking for a lot more downside for Aussie dollar in the short to medium term future. I do think the market is likely to keep falling back down to 0.64, but we might see a retest of the low here, which we just broke out of before the market does continue. The market is pretty stretched. You can see we've had a pretty big drop to the downside. So I do think it's time to see a bit of upside now. You can see the candle closure on the 4 hour this morning. Really confident candle closure there. So I do think it's time to see a bit of upside. I would be a little bit careful though, because I wouldn't expect this to go too far. I think a pullback into that trend line area makes a lot of sense. We did kind of break out the low of the channel, but this candle has brought us back into it. So it tells me that the market's been very stretched, kind of pull back. Now it's seen a nice shift of momentum. So I do think in the near future, probably see something like that for Aussie dollar. And then there may be another drop to the downside, but we'll make that judgment closer to time. But for now, I think if you're looking at lower time frame moves, probably going to see a bit of a push to the upside there for Aussie dollar. And then, yeah, from 0.662, 664, that's probably where we see some sellers step back into the market, retesting that low. So, yeah, Aussie dollar looking upside. That's kind of where I'm at with a lot of the USD pairs, seeing a bit of upside, but being wary that we might continue and see a bigger move down. Basically touching on the dollar as well. We've seen a nice drop there, but the bigger move is probably still to the upside. I still think there's room to the downside for us to fall into, but we'll probably find support somewhere and probably push on. We have seen a nice break, but that is becoming a really big wick there on the 4 hour candle. So if this candle doesn't fill that wick, hopefully the next one can. If we do see price push up, that'll be a big red flag for the sellers there for USD. We might see price come back and retest the high, or maybe try and break out. But yeah, and you see that momentum sustain there with dollar. But in terms of some of the yen pairs, so we had a chat about New Zealand yen. I think Aussie yen is in a similar boat with New Zealand yen in terms of stock and consolidation. And I don't really have too much to say on this one until we break out of it. Yeah, I don't have too much to say until we break out of it. So I need price to commit, whether it is going to be a break to the upside or a break to the downside. I'm not really too bothered because I know there'll be opportunities both ways. If we break higher up, looking at something like this and corrections afterwards, there'll be opportunities on the retest and likewise to the downside as well. If we are going to sell off, there is some opportunities going lower as well. So in terms of which way the weekly candle is going to close for Aussie yen, I think that's a bit I'm not going to try and predict that because there's no point in me doing that. But what I can say is, though, if we do see a strong close to the downside, breaking out of that range, that would then line up the shorts for next week very, very well. If we were to see something like this, drop to the downside, nice candle closures outside the level, then next week what I'd be looking for is a pullback and the market selling off, and that would be the move I'll be looking to capitalize on if we are going to break lower. So I'll wait for price to give me that move, and then if it's there, I'll discuss it in more detail, but right now we're just moving sideways, so there's not really much to report on. As you kind of keep up in this price action here. So yeah, I'm quite neutral until we break out of that range. Same with New Zealand yen as well. It looks like we're fading at the high there too. So not much to do with Aussie yen and New Zealand yen. Is anyone trading any yen pairs at the moment? Okay, gold forever. We'll take a look at pound yen as well. No problem. Okay, big drawdown then went into 33 pips in profit. Not bad. Oh wow. I hope your daughter's okay. I suppose maybe her vomiting was a trade alert, trade signal. Which I hope she's hope she's doing okay. Um. Oh, okay, fair enough. Wow, it doesn't look like you sleep much, anyway. I'm not gonna lie. Nocturnal at this point. What's up, Karis? Good morning. Hope you are doing good. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Um, okay, you're buying GJ. Okay, we'll go through some yen pairs. People are chatting about some yen pairs, dollar yen, pound yen. We'll go through them. So yeah, that's kind of where update on pound, on New Zealand yen and Aussie yen. In terms of pound yen, this one didn't manage to fill the gap. Oh, looks like it might be looking to do that now. It's looking pretty bearish this morning. I think pound is a little bit weak right now. Euro pound's flying. How's pound CAD doing? Seeing a bit of downside. Pound USD was looking a little bit bearish. That's pushing down. How is pound CHF looking? Yeah, pound looks pretty weak this morning. Do we have pound news earlier today? I'll go double check that. Because the only event really I'm focused on this week is NFP on Friday. I know we've got some jobless claims and some other news this week, but nothing huge. Nah, not really. No pound news this morning. We got GP growth rate later today for USD. That could be interesting. Oh, okay. I didn't see that actually. Bank of Japan interest rate decision. I missed that actually. That's Thursday, by the way. Early hours of Thursday. Rates are expected to stay the same, but I think that will be a big factor of what happens with the yen pairs. Yeah, I'll definitely keep an eye on that. I completely missed that. But yeah, Bank of Japan interest rate decision tomorrow, 3 a.m. in the morning, UK time. And we've got Euro CPI as well. That's a fairly big event. PCE for USD. This is still Thursday. PMI for Aussie. And then, of course, NFP on Friday. So yeah, a bit of news tomorrow. Yeah, stay aware of that. Anyway, so yeah, pound yen seeing a bit of downside this morning. So the market has kind of broken out of this resistance it was in for a very long time, and it's been pretty consistent with the higher lows here. So with that kind of theme in mind, the market has been kind of picking up pace to the upside. Now it is still pretty corrective. We're still trading at some big areas where I do think we're going to see a bigger retracement now for pound yen. But I wouldn't bet on that just yet happening because we're still pretty consistent with the higher lows. So looking to take sales right now, you have to be careful. You have to be wary in the conditions we're trading in. Say if you shorted up here, great. Now you're kind of looking to take some profit as price comes back into these lows. We could go a lot further, but you don't know that yet. You want to protect your downside first, and then you can leave some positions to run if you want to. We still do have a gap below us, which the market could look to go and fill. There's a pretty high probability the market goes and does that. So that's probably maybe the move pound yen is looking to make. Yeah, I don't really look to trade gap fills myself, but I do understand that gaps fill 90% of the time. So there's a good chance we probably will do that. But what I'm looking for is changes of structure. So break of structure, lower lows and lower highs, and that will be the indication for me that, okay, it's time to short and look for some opportunities that way. So that's kind of what I'm looking now for pound yen. Not really interested in the short-term buys there. I think that's kind of been played out, especially with the areas we're trading in now. So I'd watch out for that. But yeah, I wouldn't be looking to buy the market at the moment. I'd like to see a bit more downside there as well. Taking a look at Euro Yen. There's a nice level actually to buy for Euro Yen, which we broke out of. Can I not spell? There we go. There's a nice level which we broke out of Euro Yen not long ago. So I do like the actual retest of this level here. I dropped the 4-hour, see a bit better. But yeah, we had a nice level here on the 4-hour, which is 163.5. I think that's a nice place for a long opportunity because, again, similar to pound yen, we've still got that gap there to fill. So possibly go fill that gap, see a push, retest that high there, which we didn't retest when we did get the breakout. So still relatively fresh level for a buy, 163.5, and possibly see some upside from then on. So I do like the buys there for Euro Yen. In terms of dollar yen, yeah, this one's still trading at an interesting level where my bias is still kind of up in the air a little bit. I'm not too sure what the market's trying to do. We're trading at a major level of resistance. Big rejection here, big move down, another big rejection, big move down. Now we're trading at that same area. Is dollar yen getting ready for a big break of that, or are we respecting that level? We had a nice bullish close last week, but it didn't really give us too much information if it's breaking through or not. Slight candle closure above, but nothing significant, nothing confident. So I'm kind of waiting to see what this week has in store for us. And we kind of gap to the upside, and now he's going to look like a small doji, almost not really a doji, but close to it. So I want to see us either close really strongly back below. We do have the Bank of Japan interest rate decision, so maybe something happens there. We could see some big moves this week, or push confidently to the upside. And I know my plan is pullbacks and continuations the following week. But I think even the lower time frames with dollar yen, there probably is still some upside opportunities. Say to fill the gap, push back into this area. You can probably still find some nice longs there intraday, intra-week, and look for a push to the upside. Not really my type of trade, but on the shorter time frames, probably can find some nice risk reward there. So yeah, that's kind of what I'll be looking to trade for dollar yen if I was on the lower time frames. Pull back around 152.4. Look for that gap to fill and see some upside. And if I touch on CAD yen as well, CAD yen not as big a fan of this one as well. It's a similar situation with dollar yen, trading at major resistance still, and not decided if we're going to break through or not, or respect it. So yeah, this is still a pretty nice place for a short. And if the market starts to give me some signs of reversals, for example, lower lows and lower highs, yeah, that to me looks like a nice place for a short. And I'll be looking for something like that at some point in time. So yeah, with the yen pairs, some look okay, some don't. I still need a little bit more to have a solid bias for the yen pairs, really, especially like CAD yen trading at major resistance, dollar yen as well. Aussie and New Zealand yen still moving sideways. I think for me, it's still CHF JPY, which looks the best. We've had some really nice momentum there, left behind some really nice structure. We've broken through significant levels of the market as well. So if we were to come back, I do think there's a good chance we're going to respect support and push up and probably push back to that high there. So I think CHF JPY looks the cleanest. So yeah, that's the one I'd rather look to trade, really, if you can pull back into 174. I like that setup. Let me know what you guys are looking at on the yen pairs as well. Okay, good to hear, everyone. Good to hear. Yes, I'm still looking to enter pound as the buy. I'm seeing a lot of downside now, so I'm definitely looking to take some buys there. They're not in the euro trade. Yeah, okay. There's one trade you're in that you're not in that I'm trading. Pound USD to 1.26. Okay, we'll take a look at pound. No problem. Yeah, 100%. I would I would have brain damage 100%. That pound yen trade was just moving sideways for eternity, really. And paying the swap cost as well. Okay, well, yeah, we'll take a look at GU. 1.3. Oh, 1.3 not strong enough. Okay, I was going to say I wasn't too sure what you were saying there. Yeah, GBP is pretty weak right now. We haven't had news this morning. I don't know if something's happened elsewhere. If anyone has any insight, feel free to fill me in. But we didn't have any news, pre-planned news anyway this morning for pound that I'm aware of. So I have no idea why pound is weak. Yeah, unless I'm blind. But yeah, I have no idea why pound is weak, but it's falling pretty hard. But yeah, we'll touch on pound USD. So yeah, with pound USD, you said you're looking for a push into 1.26, Tom, and Gold Forever. You said 1.3 not strong enough. It looks like 1.3 is holding pretty well at the moment. It looks like price is rejecting that level very, very heavily right now. 1.26 is all the way down here. And I do think we probably do have the mileage for that on the higher time frames, because we're probably going to see a bigger pullback of this move here, which is this low all the way to this high here. And you've got the 50 around the 1.27550 area. So I do think, with this swing low and that swing high, you're probably going to see price come back into some of these areas to find support and maybe have another attempt to try and push to the upside again, because you had a big swing there from the low to the high. Market pullback of that, create a new low and create a new high. So kind of expecting that pattern to repeat itself. Maybe it does get back to the high, maybe not. But this is kind of where you got the healthy pullback from the 50 to the 0.618. So roughly around the 2.7 area to 2.6. 1.27, 1.26 is kind of where I can see pound USD heading towards. And then maybe we see some upside from then on. But yeah, at the moment, pound is looking very, very weak. And 1.3 does look like price is finding it very, very hard to break through that. And we're looking pretty bearish right now. So yeah, I have no idea why pound's so weak, but that level is holding really well. We did break out that channel, but momentum hasn't really picked up since then. And if that closes pretty bearish, I think there's a good chance price is just going to creep back in and see that move to the downside regardless. So you have to see how that kind of candle does close in the next 2 hours, whether the pound will keep that strength for the next 2 hours or not. But it is looking pretty weak. Okay, releasing its budget today. Okay, do you know when that announcement is, or has it already happened yet? But yeah, 1.3 is not looking like price is holding that as well. So yeah, 1.26, I would agree. I think longer term, we can see that move happen. Of course, there'll be pullbacks along the way. Don't expect prices to suddenly just drop like that. But there is definitely room for us to push into if we're going to have a bigger pullback of that swing, which I think is probably the play for pound USD. And we're already seeing that momentum there on the 4-hour chart as well. But yeah, with the yen pairs, there is room to the downside, but I'm a bit more neutral with them. I want to wait for them to give me a bit more decisive price action before I put forward a buy and start looking to trade them myself. Apart from CHF JPY, I'm not really looking to trade the yen pairs at the moment. I like the pullbacks on Swiss yen, potentially to ride it back to the high there. I like the level there because we kind of broke through, had a quick minor retest, but no kind of bigger pullback there yet. So still a relatively fresh level to buy from, and possibly see that next high low. We had a lovely formation down here, the next one over there, third one over there. I think we're due a fourth one there as well. So looking for that bigger pullback for Swiss yen, and that's kind of the only yen pair that looks crystal clear to me. Pound, euro, There's some nice setups there, but I do think they're Swiss yen is a lot better at the moment. And I mean, have a quick look at the Japanese index because last time I looked, I was looking pretty bullish. I do think there's a bit more upside left to it. So yeah, we did continue pushing up high. I do think this still has room. I still think we're probably going to push back to the high there. So if the Japanese index is going to keep pushing up, that should take the yen pairs with it. So that might mean a more that might mean a weak yen and a bullish yen crosses. So that is something to look out for. So if you are looking at shorts, it might be on the short side, short term side of things. With the sells, the bigger move for me anyway, with the yen basket, with the yen index, is to the upside. Especially if I go to the daily chart, I'm kind of looking at this bullish structure continuing, seeing the next high, high, low, next higher high, and these are some swing points I've marked out as where we could see price push towards. So, yeah, in my book, I think Japanese index is probably going to keep pushing up, which probably will take the yen pairs up with it. So hopefully that will mean Swiss yen, if you can see that pullback, it can take us all the way back to the high there potentially as well. Okay, it's due in 2 hours time. Okay. So yeah, maybe we could see a bit of reaction there for pound as well. 12 is that 12-month time frame? So you want me to go from pound USD on the 12-month and break it down all the way there? That's a very long-term view. To be fair, I'm quite interested to see what we're actually looking at on the 12-month chart. That's Swiss yen. It's a pound USD. So yeah, well, we've been trading at the lows there for a while. So on this chart, you probably would expect to see a bit of a bounce at some point. Probably a push back into this area here because we just had a wick piercing that low there and a pretty big rejection. So you would expect us to push back into resistance again, which is kind of this area here. So the probably long term is still a lot more upside left for pound USD back into 1.4-ish, big psychological level. I mean, we could even probably see a move back to there, but let's not get into that because I don't think anyone's trading the monthly chart, the 12-month chart anyway, which is the yearly chart really. So longer term, we probably can see a probably move back into the resistance up there. But yeah, I think at the moment we're just taking out some major highs there on the left. Market's broken through structure there as well. So probably going to go through a bit of a bearish cycle first, and then maybe we can speak about the buys later on. But yeah, I think longer term, there's definitely room to the upside for pound USD. So I would watch out for that. Okay, where was I? Yeah, purposely confused buyers and sellers. They do tend to do that a lot. After the US, what happened to crypto and USD after the US elections? Well, to be honest, I'm kind of just waiting to see what will happen. I mean, last election we saw USD was very weak after the elections, and we saw a really nice trend on Euro USD, Pound USD. All the dollar crosses really were all trending very well after the election. There was a lot of momentum. Whether USD be weak again, I'm not too sure. But if history is going to repeat itself, then we could be seeing some nice trends of Pound USD up, Euro USD up, gold up as well. And of course, if you're going to kind of have that theme, then you would probably expect to see crypto up as well. But I think there's a bit more to it than that because I don't know, people might not want to be taking as much risk. So maybe gold will be moving a lot, but maybe Bitcoin not. But it depends what's happening now because Bitcoin's already moving crazy. Well, not crazy, but it's seeing some momentum, and that could start a bit of a trend before the elections because we still got a couple of weeks about. No, it's not a couple of weeks. It's on the 5th, isn't it? Okay, no, we don't. We have about a week. So we could see momentum pick up before that. But yeah, my best guess would probably be some USD weakness if we were going to repeat what we did last time, which then I would expect Bitcoin to keep pushing. But I'm just going to wait to see what happens. I'm not going to try and do anything with the election, try and predict anything. Um, Probably will stay out of the market, to be honest. Probably will stay out of the market because I remember last time it was crazy, wicks everywhere, big wicks as well in both directions. So it doesn't really matter which direction you're trading. Unless you have a really big stop loss, you probably will get affected by it. So I think it's probably a wise decision to wait, see what happens, and then by the following day on the 6th, um, yeah, the election's on the 5th, isn't it? Is it 5th or 6th? Or whenever the next day is, that's when I'll look to decide what my bias will be and what my plan will be. But I think longer term, we're probably going to see pound USD, Euro USD all push up as well. So that's kind of what I'm gearing towards, but I'll let the market decide that. I will definitely let the market decide that. Okay, BRICS forming a new currency. That's pretty big. Once that's established, the dollar will collapse. Oh, bit of it's a big forecast there, Holy One. Yeah, yeah. When the announcement is released, you probably will see a pretty big reaction, regardless. Because if I go back to when it did come out last time, which was over here. Let me get the replay tool out. So yeah, the last US election was over here. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, 3rd of November 2020. So this is when it happened. This was when it happened in the last election. Big wicks, as you can see, huge wicks to the upside, huge wicks to the downside. So whatever you were doing that day, it would be a little bit all over the shop. Maybe you had a profitable trade, but there's a good chance you probably would have been wicked out even if you were selling. And then if you were buying, you had a stop loss there, it would be wicked out as well. So yeah, last time was a little bit reckless, although the short price is moving. But then afterwards, you can see really big move to the upside. And literally from that low we created, it started, this trend to the upside for the next kind of 5, 6, 7, 8 weeks. So there was a really nice trend following afterwards. And that could be the case again this time around. But I'll wait for that move to happen, and then I'll look for opportunities later on. So the next day or the following day, or even the next week, really after the elections happen, that's when I probably cement things on the higher time frames and then look for a bias. But in terms of the initial reaction, you can see price was all over the shop. If I go take a look at pound USD as well, and go back to that same date, so pound USD reaction was over here. So you can see pound USD as well, big wick to the upside there, wick to the downside, just a lot of noise. Market then later does commit to a direction, and we start to see a lovely trend form. Again, there was a bit more to that. Pound had some reason why it's a bit strong as well, but USD was definitely weak, and we did see a nice trend form there too. So I'll wait for the news to come around, and then I'll make those judgments. Oh wow, many cancelled channels and other platforms that banned on YouTube. Wow, heard anyone doing some digging there. But yeah, I mean, of course, YouTube's going to have its censorship, but that would be pretty big though if a new currency was formed by the brick currencies. That would be pretty big. That would be very big. So yeah, with the yen pairs, just to sum that section up, I do think there's opportunities to be had short-term buys, but I wouldn't be looked to hold them for too long, especially with the interest rates coming out tomorrow as well. I'll be careful of that. But I think if we can see yen tank, I think there could be some nice buys there around 163.5. This is for euro yen, and dollar yen as well. Some nice buys there too. So I would definitely keep an eye on that. But yeah, I really do like using the Fibonacci because it kind of gives me areas where the market's had its deep enough correction, especially in FX. In FX, Fibonacci does work pretty well because if you look at the market structure, from let's say a bullish trend, for example, from a high to a low, you know, for the trend to continue, the market has to remain above that low. Market has to remain above that low. And you're expecting us to go back to retest that high or create some new highs if the trend's going to continue. So in theory, the market should stay above this low for that trend to continue, for you to continue to look for buys. If the market was to go and break through that, that's an indication that, okay, direction is probably changing, and you're probably going to see a bit more downside. So for the bullish bias to still stand, you need price to be above that low. So by using a Fibonacci, you can kind of work out the better areas, the better prices to look to buy from, because we spoke about this a couple streams ago. Holy One's touched on it many times about buying at the best value for price. If you're going to buy something, you want to buy as cheap as possible, and if it's at cheap price and the value is presumably potentially higher, and it's a great price to buy at. And that's essentially what the Fibonacci allows us to look at, is how deep of a pullback before the trend does continue, because our initial assumption is that the trend is going to continue. We expect it to continue until it doesn't. So if we can buy deeper down, not only does it mean that we're buying at a better price, but also if we are right and the trend does continue, we're going to maximize our returns, because if we're expecting it to push back to the high, then we've got a lot more profit, a lot more pips to catch on the way up, rather than, let's say, we bought up here and then we're looking for the continuation from then on. Not to say those trades don't play out. Sometimes you do see really shallow pullbacks and the market flies. That happens when the market is trending very, very well. But in FX, we don't tend to do that too often. We have a deeper pullbacks. Market's a bit more corrective. If you compare it with the indices, for example, we do go through a deeper pullback. So I like working from the 50% and below. These are my Fibonacci settings. I have the 50, 0.618, 0.786. I don't look at the 236 or the 382. It's just way too shallow given what the markets typically do in FX anyway. Maybe you want to look at those when we're looking at indices, when we have sharper pullbacks, or gold, for example, right now. But for me, I like to work from the 50% and below. So if I can see a pullback into the 50, that's when I'm looking to get involved. And the deeper, the better, really. I probably take most of my trades around the 0.618. But when I start looking for entries, 15 below is a really good confidence to have. And again, the thought process is that you expect the market to stay above that low here. And if it does break, the setup's invalid anyway, and the bias is probably going to change anyway. And then you can, of course, repeat the pattern with another Fibonacci from the high to the low and look for setups that way. So Fibonacci, although is it's one of those indicators that works because other people use it. It's not necessarily the market, is just it is ruled or governed by Fibonacci laws. But the concept of Fibonacci is how far the market's going to retrace before it does continue that trend. And if you, have basic understanding of how a market works, if the price is right, if the price is valued right and it's cheap, then you look to buy. And that's actually what the Fibonacci allows me to look at. So it's not that Fibonacci levels are crazy and they work all the time, but I know that if price is below the 50, looking at 0.618, 786, those levels are really good levels to look to buy from and look to get involved with setups. And typically in FX, I want price to be below the 50. But looking at gold, for example, because the conditions are so bullish, we just haven't really seen much pullbacks or deep pullbacks. So, in these conditions, you probably would miss out on a few setups. For example, here you can see we didn't get to the 50 there. Here we didn't get to the 50. Oh no, we did get to the 50 with this one. This one we definitely didn't get to the 50 with this pullback here. And now I'm hoping we can see at least a pullback to the 50 in this move here. Hopefully price can push a little bit higher, tag the 50 and be on our way. But those are the confluences I look to add to my trading. And Fibonacci is not something that I would just trade and rely completely off from, because a lot needs to come into play. But in terms of bigger pullbacks and deeper corrections, Fibonacci is a nice layer of confidence to add to your trading. But of course, I wouldn't rely on Fibonacci exclusively. Deep understanding of market structure, candlesticks, trend analysis, momentum. You can layer many other confluences on top of that as well. But I know that once we get to that 50, now I can start looking for some entries and expect to push up higher. Yeah, true. People use in everyday life, just we don't understand it. Very, very true as well. Very, very true. Very, very true. But yeah, I think in terms of confluence, because some people don't really like fibs a lot, some people like fibs a lot. I think fib is just, if you use it, you use it well. If you don't use it, it's not that big of a deal. But to me, it kind of helps visualize how deep a pullback is in the market and given the conditions of it as well. So that's why I find it very, very useful in terms of visualizing, okay, the market's pulled back to 0.618. I know that there's a good chance we're probably going to see a reaction now. And then, of course, layering that with understanding of market structure, candlesticks, support, resistance, then I can find some really nice opportunities on that. But the fib just adds a nice layer of confidence of knowing how far we've pulled back and finding opportunities. And then, of course, you got the fib extension targets, which I don't use really. You got the minus 0.27, minus 618, and those can be some nice targets. I know some traders that do look to use them as their targets. Me, I'd rather just target structure. So, for example, if the market has created a high and pull back into a fib level, I'm always going to target that high there because I know that's realistically where you can expect price to get to. And you can always leave some positions to trail, if that's what you want, but I'll never look to kind of secure profit at a minus 0.27 or minus 6.18. They do work well, but yeah, I'm more fixated on market structure rather than fib extension points. But it could be good references to secure profit, trail stop losses, or take partials, however you want to use them. Kadam, if you enter okay, well, your stop loss B. Well, your stop loss needs to be below. It depends what time frame you're looking at, but the rule that I trade by is my stop loss needs to be below the low. So, for example, if I'm entering here, it needs to be below that low that I'm entering of the candlestick from. I give myself a bit of wiggle room as well in case the market was to come back and retest. If you're looking at like I don't know, a 15-minute chart, then you're probably looking at a different kind of entry way for that. Say if you're looking for like a retest of the high here, then your stop loss will be in a completely different place to mine. You'll be looking at some trade opportunities here and a stop loss probably here as well. So it depends what move you're looking to take and what time frame you're trading on. If you're trading to take advantage of a swing back to the high there, that's a completely different move from mine. So you wouldn't want to have your stop loss here because your risk reward would be absolutely skewed. So it depends what time frame you're trading on, what type of move you're looking for. But typically when I'm entering a chart, it will be below the candlestick or above the candlestick I'm using to enter, with a bit of wiggle room as well, because it's difficult to completely perfectly time the market. So I will give myself a bit of wiggle room to play with. I appreciate it, Kwame. If you guys are enjoying the stream, by the way, as I keep forgetting to always mention, if you guys are enjoying the stream, please be sure to drop a like, subscribe to the channel, and of course, make sure you do go and hit the bell so you don't miss out on any streams or uploads in the future. And if you haven't done already, check out the Elevating Traders Discord channel, completely free to join. Links to that in the description below at the top of the chat as well. So yeah, make sure you go check that out if you haven't done so already. But I appreciate everyone who has liked so far. If you haven't done so, um, what are you waiting for? Trend plus market structure plus fib plus price. Yeah, very, very true, Tom. Very, very true. I completely agree as well. I completely agree as well. I completely agree. And the thing is, you're not looking for anything complex, to be honest. You're just looking for simplicity and you're looking for quality in that simplicity. All right, no problem, Tom. Have a good one, man. We'll catch you on the next one. Have a great afternoon to you as well. What's up, Lockdown? Welcome to the stream. Hope everything is well with you. You like pounds, maybe setting up for a long. So pound USD potentially, but I think I want to see price break through 1.3 first because pound USD is having a very, very big reaction at this low here at 1.3, which is this level here. And I do think there is room to the upside for pound to move into, but I would want to see price trading above that area. Therefore, I can base a trade from that, have a nice little stop loss below, and then look for a move like this. Because we have been descending pretty well, and typically in these patterns, it tends to mean price is running out of steam and getting ready for a big break to the upside. So that is the case there with pound USD, but we need to see price get back above this low. If not, especially with the rejection we're kind of seeing at the moment now, I know that candle still got about an hour and 47 minutes before it does close, but if it does close similar to how it's looking now, that's an indication of a really hefty rejection, and price might continue to sell off there as well. So for pound USD, I do agree buys do look good, but we need to be breaking above that level there really, because the breakout of this descending channel has been really half-hearted, and with all of this momentum spilling back over, that's not really a good sign at all for pound USD. So let's see if we can break above 1.3. Then I'll be more intrigued with the buys. Otherwise, it's not looking good at all. Oh, you're looking for setups in the 5-minute chart. Okay. Yeah, true. I keep forgetting that as well. Okay, let me go to the 5-minute. To be fair, on the 5-minute, pound USD must be looking very bearish. Let me just move these out the way so I can see the 5-minute bit clearer. But yeah, it must be looking very bearish on the 5-minute. Okay, so how big of a move are you looking for? Because we've got a major low down there on the 5-minute, which I suppose you'd be looking for a bit of a bounce there. But yeah, I wouldn't be looking for anything too crazy here because the market is absolutely melting down the 5-minute. So I think as we approach 1.295, we'll see how price reacts. There could be a nice it could be a nice sign for a bounce there, potentially there for pound. But I wouldn't be looking for anything crazy really, because we could very much see a slight reaction, then we're on our way back down. So yes, it's coming back into a nice level. I suppose maybe you're looking for a buy around here. If not, let me know. I mean, that would be the only place I would really look for a buy there for pound as we come back into that low. But I'd be very careful about holding onto this trade for too long. Especially with what the higher time frames are doing. So yes, a slight bounce there could be looking good, but I wouldn't look to hold for too long because things could still very much continue to sell off. But I'd imagine you're looking for a very short-term buy anyway, because I think you like your scalps. But yeah, on the higher time frame, we're struggling on that level there on the 4 hour. So that's kind of my worry. Okay, you need to see complete shift. So sitting on hand still then, fair enough. How's the 50 looking with the pound USD? Okay, so he did slightly break above it, but looks like price is now trying to break back below. I mean, it was holding as some nice resistance there not long ago, but yeah, hasn't really sustained that. So yeah, I mean, depends how this price closes really with this 4 hour candle, because it could potentially pull back up if it really wanted to. I know that'd be a pretty big move, but we could potentially hold above the 50 there. But yeah, the key thing for me is the break above this level. If that happens, then the buys are very much on. If not, we could just see another big sell, and that just might be a continuation of these lower highs. So I'd watch out for that. Okay, so you're looking for change. Okay, so you're waiting for price to shift first, and then looking to buy. Like to be in and out. Fair enough. Fair enough. I do not blame you. So yeah, if you're looking for that, I think that'll make a lot more sense because of course the market's falling pretty hard right now, but that is a nice little low there for price to bounce from. So I suppose if the market is going to start to stall, give some indication of a break of structure, there might be some short-term buys to look at for, because that definitely is a low. I know price is falling pretty hard, but this is a pretty strong low there as well. But yeah, of course, you want to see how price reacts because, equally, we could bounce from this level and we could break straight through as well. So it's important to see how we get there and how we react there as well. Okay, yeah, of course, not all breaks are valid. You will have indications, of course. Yeah, of course, like you said, you don't just use the 50 as well. I think that's a important factor there as well to mention, that there are other things at play, other things you're looking at. But yeah, in terms of some of the cross pairs, I think pound NZD to me is the top of the list. Pound NZD looks the best. Really nice structure in the daily chart. A lot of momentum there as well in the past few weeks. And the key thing is we've broken through 2.158 roughly with a lot of ease. So I do think pound NZD is likely going to keep pushing up. We've got the major high there at 2.19, which is the high I'm expecting price to push it in towards, and hopefully probably some new highs there as well. Now the plan I have for pound NZD is now looking for a retest of the high here, which is around 2.156. Hopefully you can find some entries on that level, and then I'll look to target the high. We're looking pretty bearish this morning. I think pound being weak has a big part to play with that. But to me, it's probably an indication that we're time or having that retracement. It's time for that retracement, and then I'll see what we can do on the retest for some longs. But essentially, just looking for that next higher low and getting into some buys at that level. So pound NZD to me looks really good. It's probably the top of my watch list. With top of the watch list with gold retracement, Swiss yen as well, but that's a bit far away. This one's probably could happen in the next couple of days before the end of the week as well. So definitely keeping a close eye on pound NZD. But you can see on the higher time frames, higher lows there, higher highs. The market has been somewhat trending. It's not the cleanest trend you'll ever see, but the market is giving me a direction, which is the key thing I'm after on the higher time frames. I want a clear direction in the higher time frames. So when I do drop to the lower time frames, I know what I'm doing. I know which direction I want to trade in as well. So yeah, looking for a higher low and a push back into 2.19. And again, if we can see a pullback of this move here, we've had the nice Fibonacci. I'm sure we've got the 0.5, 0.618 in those areas. So that's exactly where we look and take my buy from. And again, with this one, I'm not too sure if I'll trail all the way. I'll probably will trail initially back into the high there if we can get there. And if we can push into 2.19, I probably will call it a day and just take the profit there. Because pound NZD is not really a market which you want to trail. On average, it does tend to revert back on itself and be a bit more choppy. You can see just how it moves. Yes, it will have its occasional big moves, which you wish you probably would have trailed for, but on average, look at that price action there. Trading stops don't work very, very well in these conditions. You want to be taking your profit at the highs and the lows. It's more conditions like that you're looking for, which are a bit more rarer with pound NZD, or a bit more rare with pound NZD. So yeah, I like the buys there, but really the target will be back to the high and then call it a day. In terms of some of the other pairs similar to pound NZD, pound Aussie looks like it's slowly getting ready for a similar move, but it doesn't look near enough as well developed and as quality as pound NZD. So I'm not interested in that one at all. But essentially looking for a push back into the high there at 1.99. That's where I do see price getting towards. We were very, very close there with that wick. Just missed it. So to me, it looks like price is going to come back for a retest of some structure. And this is the level I'll be looking at, 1.96924. So the buys with pound NZD and pound Aussie look like they're setting up at similar times here. But as I said, pound NZD looks the clear winner to me, at least, which fits my plan well and ticks my boxes. But if you're looking at pound Aussie, I think buys look good as well, around 1.96. And looking for some entries there on the hourly chart. Makes a lot of sense to me. So I like the buys there with pound Aussie, just not as much as pound NZD, but you can see the high lows there on the daily chart too. So there is some consistency there with the direction. On the higher time frames, we're slowly pushing to the upside. So there's a good chance we'll push back to the high, just not that great of an opportunity. In terms of Euro Aussie, this one I'm not a big fan of at all, because again, higher time frames, what are we doing? We're consolidating. So if we are moving sideways, consolidating the higher time frames, it's definitely not a market which I want to get involved with, and definitely a market which I want to stay on the sidelines of. In these conditions, you can look to buy low and sell high and take advantage of those reactions. So, for example, if you were to push back into the high here, I think that's a nice place for a short. I wouldn't hold on it for too long, but it'd be nice enough to give you a reaction. We have broken through resistance here pretty well, so you might see something like this happen, but just because the conditions are choppy, I wouldn't really be looking to take break and retest here. So not a big fan of that with Euro Aussie. I think the clear opportunities, the sells around 1.66. Other than that, not interested at all. And then Euro NZD, not looking at this one at all either. For my personal trading, very, very messy. Yes, we're rejecting the high there. Might see some downside after that, but not really interested in trading it because as we can see, the higher time frames are just moving sideways there. So not great price action, hence why pound NZD is the only one I'm looking at for some buys here at the moment in terms of those crosses. So I have to keep a close eye on that. Could see an entry possibly tomorrow, I would say. Could keep falling for the rest of the day, and then maybe you might set up tomorrow London. So keep an eye on that. In terms of Euro pound, we touched upon this, but looking for a lot of upside here for Euro pound. Breaking retest could provide a nice opportunity, but Euro pound's just completely pushed away there. And then the Aussie New Zealand dollar still looking pretty weak. Yeah, I don't see much here as well. Very choppy price action. So trying to stay very, very far away from trading Aussie New Zealand dollar. Not a fan of this one at all. And then in terms of the CAD pair, so I think CAD has been pretty weak a little bit. Pound CAD did push to the upside as I ended the stream yesterday. So there was some nice upside there to be had. Looks like we just pushed right back into the high there. So that's kind of job done there with pound CAD. Market's been really consistent with all these higher lows. As we can see, there's your low there, high low, high low, high low, high low. So the trend's been really crystal clear to see. The market's been pushing up higher, breaking high after high. But now we're trading at a big level in the monthly chart where I do think it's time for us to see a bit of downside now for pound CAD. As you can see, major resistance there. I do think it's time to see a bit of a reaction and a bit of a pullback there for pound CAD. So I'm anticipating some sells. The sell's not here yet. You can look for some aggressive entries, for example, which is kind of shorting at the high here. You can see a lot of the rejection there. You can look for it again there, and we're rejecting there again there. So some shorts there look okay, but you are vulnerable for price to go and do that and just continue the trend. The safer option would be waiting for price to kind of commit to the downside, probably below that trend line, and then of course break some structure whilst we're at it as well, and then pullbacks afterwards look a lot better. Of course, this is much the conservative opportunity. It will take some time to play out, and you might not even get the retest as well. Sometimes price just breaks and keeps falling. So there is that possibility as well with pound CAD. But there's no right or wrong way to trade. It's just that you're a bit more risky here. But if it does play out, the risk reward looks better. Conservative here, more chance of playing out, but you might not get the retest. It might not set up exactly how you want it to. So there are some drawbacks there as well. And of course, you have to wait a lot longer too. So we are trading a nice area where I do think pound CAD can react and see some downside. It's just I think the shorts here are a little bit more safer. So that's kind of what I'm looking at for Aussie CAD, pound CAD. Sorry. In terms of Euro CAD, we've seen some really nice downside for this one. Upside, sorry, for this one. And now price is trading back at some resistance as well. And if I draw the trend line, you can see that we're coming into this area where I do think if we are going to bounce, this is the time to do it. So if the market is going to break to the upside, I want to see a strong candle closure above here. If not, then I want to see some wicks forming. And at that point, I'm looking at another drop back into the low. Because all EuroCAD has been doing is reject the support level and reject that trend line time and time again. So the market is building up for some type of move, whether the move will be something like this or the move will be something like this. It's building up for something. And the best way to trade is kind of look to trade the extremes of the range. So shorting as we do push back into the trend line, and then buying as we do push back into the low. Of course, in the middle is kind of where you want to stay far, far away from, and not look to do anything really. So with EuroCAD, if we can see some nice wicks, which we are starting to see, this candle does close in the next hour and 30 minutes. So we can get a nice wick there, maybe a nice bearish candle closure, engulfing candle. I think that's a really nice entry there for EuroCAD. Take some shorts there. Of course, Euro is a lot stronger than pound right now, which is why Euro is a little bit more bullish and pound CAD's actually seeing a bearish engulfing at the moment. But if we can see a nice bearish engulfing there, I think stop loss is above the high, and you got a nice little short back into the low there. And worst case scenario, price does stop you out. And in that case, you're probably going to break to the upside anyway. So you don't want to be short in the market anyway, unless it's a fake out. Then, of course, you can look to re-enter. But if we do reject there, see nice bearish engulfing, keep up those wicks. That to me is a nice sell opportunity. And you got a clear target there back at 1.49. And to me, the risk reward looks pretty good there too. So I think EuroCAD is looking like a nice sell. Also trading at major resistance as well on the left. Take that across. You can see we're having a really tough time trying to break the high there. So to me, if we keep this up, there's a big move to the downside to be had, which is why initially I said I'm waiting for the break of this support level. Because if that breaks, then I'm expecting a bigger move into this level here. I do think the shorts will look really good on a retest for some downside, similar to pound CAD as well. You know, I'm looking for pound CAD to break that trend line, and then looking for some pullbacks afterwards. With EuroCAD, I'm looking for price to break that low first, and then some pullbacks afterwards. And we've got a similar situation with some of the other CAD pairs too. Aussie CAD, for example, we did see some nice downside. Looks like we're coming back for a retest here. I have drawn a nice channel here with Aussie CAD, connecting the lows and the highs there roughly. So looking for a push back into that level there for maybe another bounce or a break. We will see. But with Aussie CAD, I do think there's a nice opportunity slowly brewing up here. You can see a lovely level of support. The market has broken through that and now looks like we're coming back for a retest. So to me, this is an area which you want to be looking to sell from. An area which you want to be looking to sell from. If you come back and retest this, see some rejection, stop loss above the high, entries in that area, and that to me is a nice sell. EuroCAD has a strong sell, just not all confirmations yet. And so, yeah, I agree. I agree, even for me as well, because I know you're looking at the 50, but even me with the candlesticks as well, EuroCAD's not quite ready yet. But trading in a nice area and on the higher time frames as well, nice area for a sell. And I like Aussie CAD too. Nice break to the downside, really nice momentum, very consistent with the lower highs here, the high over there, second, third, fourth. Now kind of looking for the fifth in that same area. You know, coming back into that resistance there. So this is a nice place for a short. What I'll be looking for some wicks initially, show that that momentum is fading. because that's a really strong closure there on the 4 hour. So I want to kind of see that bullish momentum kind of deplete and show me that it's failing to continue. And then some nice bearish engulfing candles, and that would be the entry. And then, yeah, I'll be looking at pushing to 0.906 roughly, which is, back into that low there with that trend line confluence running through it, because all price has been doing is moving in this upwards channel, which might be a big correction of this move here, and maybe price has a big sell-off. Possibly. I'm not going to speak too much on that because a lot needs to happen first. And I'll wait for the breakout before going into detail on that. But what I can say is that there's a good chance we are to come back and test the trend line again. So some shorts on the break and retest there look good. And if I go over to New Zealand CAD, you're looking at a similar opportunity there. I'm not sure if we got the break. No, we didn't. Really big push to the upside there with NZD CAD. Was that this morning? Yeah, it was. Big push to the upside. Most recent candle, of course, it was this morning. But yeah, similar situation in terms of the ascending channel here as well. So if I start with the low, connect those two lows there, connect the highs, you've got a very similar situation here of low, high, low, high, low, high, looking to see if we can push back into the lower end of that channel. And again, maybe a breakout for us to come all the way back to this low as well. So there's a lot of room for us to fall into for both Aussie CAD and New Zealand CAD. But in terms of the shorts, Aussie CAD looks a lot better. Number one, we've broken through the support. And number two, not looking as bullish as this one either. So I would be looking for price to break through this, then discuss some retest to short it. Yeah, Aussie CAD's already given me that. But it's vital to see what we can do in the retest, and significant to see if we can actually see those rejections first. Otherwise, maybe we break back above. But I'm looking at a similar move there for New Zealand CAD as well. But yeah, like I said, it does look CAD is pretty weak right now. It does look like CAD is pretty weak right now. Dollar CAD still pushing, Aussie CAD still pushing. Of course, not against pound. Pound CAD's having a bit of a reaction there, but I think that's because pound is just very weak as well, or weaker than pound, or weaker than CAD at the moment. So that's a bit of an anomaly there, but CAD is pretty weak. CAD CHF, we had a look at that one, was looking pretty bearish ish. CAD yen, I think that's seen some downside, but then I think yen's got a part to play with that as well. How is oil doing? I haven't actually looked at oil. Okay, oil did have. Okay, I'm looking at different oil. There we go. So yeah, oil did have. It did find some support here on the left. It's looking a little bit bullish, but then that should mean a strong CAD. Oh well, all we can say right now is that CAD is definitely a bit weak. But yeah, out of the CAD pairs, I think Aussie CAD shorts and Euro CAD shorts look the best. Aussie CAD shorts there, and then Euro CAD shorts at that high. But I'd still wait for rejection, wicks to form. We're seeing that nicely with Euro CAD so far, but I need that bit more momentum. Nice, strong bearish engulfing candle. And that will be the indication that for me, okay, the market's finding resistance here, and we could be forming that next lower high in this bearish sequence and come right back down again. So I'll keep a close eye on that, which could potentially happen this afternoon. I'll have to wait light years for EuroCAD confirmation. Yeah, trade strictly to your plan. Yeah, that's all you can do as a trader. That's all you can do as a trader. Okay. Yeah, we'll take a look at NASDAQ, for example. No problem. But yeah, that's all you can do as a trader. Stick to the plan and carry out that plan. Otherwise, if you don't stick to the plan, then what are you doing at the end of the day? But yeah, with EuroCAD, yeah, we're a long way from the 50, so I can see what you mean. Long way away from that. So yeah, there's no point try and force it. And I can see what you mean, sell towards the 50. But if that's not something you've written down and as a part of your playbook, then there's no need to try and force that. There will be trade opportunities that will come around, and EuroCAD maybe eventually will come around, but there are probably other opportunities you're looking at, which will set up before them. But yeah, EuroCAD I do like. If it's the rules for me well, you just need to see a nice reaction there to indicate that we're about to sell. And then in terms of C share pairs quickly, then I'll go through your Aussie, your NASDAQ recommendation. If anyone else has any pairs they want me to look at, just drop it down in the chat and we'll have a look. But yeah, C share pairs in general, I'm still looking for a lot more downside on them. Maybe it's time for a bit of retracement, possibly. This is Aussie CHF. There is some room to the upside for us to retrace into, find some resistance, and push back down again. If I expand to the daily chart over here, we had a lovely, lovely drop there. And now I'm looking for a push back into this low, which is around 0.56228. I think that is a pretty reasonable place for us to push into. But yeah, for Aussie CHF, we're probably going to pull back first. The CHF pair is a little bit more corrective. They like chopping around a little bit. So pullbacks are pretty frequent, retests are pretty frequent as well. And yeah, in my book, if we can see a pullback there, I think some nice entries on the hourly look good. Find the next lower high, one over there, second, third, and see that nice bearish move into that low. So yeah, I do like Aussie CHF to the downside. Euro CHF looks like it's slowly moving down, but oh no, it's not. The last time I looked at Euro CHF, we were trading down here. But the market's now trying to break higher. I think Euro is a little bit strong. That's probably why. I mean, I'm still bearish in Euro CHF, but it just looks really awkward to try and trade it, which is why I have not really looked at Euro CHF much, because the conditions are so choppy. So I can't find any good entries unless we're to push back into this level, which we might do. But until we get there, I'm not going to look to find any entries there with Euro CHF. Pound CHF, I'd imagine this one's looking a little bit bearish because of pound. Strong close yesterday on the daily though, but it's trying to push down now, isn't it? But yeah, look at that price action. Absolutely horrendous stuff there with pound CHF. I wouldn't want to touch that with a 10-foot pole at all. So yeah, with pound CHF, although I'm looking for a move down, conditions aren't great. And then New Zealand CHF, this one's already had a big drop as of late, but it's finding support, trying to push back up. So I'm not convinced with the shorts just yet. Still trading at major support over here. So I need price either to completely break through that, or of course respect it and turn around, and there could be some nice buys. But I wouldn't say the breakout is completely clean just yet. So I need a little bit more downside there with New Zealand CHF before I start looking to short and look for a move back into support down there. But there is room for us to move into, just nothing critical. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with the CHF pairs as well, and the crosses as well. We'll go through NASDAQ for you. Okay, comes below the 50, I'm in. It's currently a big bearish signal. Yeah, I'm pretty bearish on Euro CHF as well. Let me see where the 50 is for you in regard to the opportunity. Okay, it's just crossed above it. Yeah, conditions are just really choppy, so that's why I don't like it. But on the higher time frame, there's still a lot of momentum there, so that's why I'm expecting us to bleed. Let's go take a look at NAS. So let me know what you're looking at on NAS. I'm still pretty bullish with NAS, but we're coming back into the high, so it's difficult to trade it unless you're currently already in a trade, or unless you're currently in a trade. We're coming back into the high there, and price is just trading below it. So in terms of the buys, I think the buys have already left the station. Trains have already left the station. Unless we were to make a late pullback out of nowhere and push back down, maybe back into this area, I think that's a nice place for a buy there. That's where price found support yesterday, or was that Monday? Yeah, yesterday, big push up. So if we were to come back there again, that'd be a nice place to long, put a stop loss below, and try and find the next high low. So I do like that as an opportunity there for NAS, but it's a big if we're going to pull back and retest that. We could very much just push up this afternoon and look really bullish and even take out that high. So That's why I said the train's left the station there with NAS, because we're almost there. We're about to test the high. So either you're in a trade or you're waiting for that last minute pullback, which may or may not happen. If it does, cool. We can address that and look for some opportunities. If not, it might be one that we just kind of wait for the next move after, because I want to see what happens when we get there. Do we get the breakout? Do we respect it? Do we double top at the high? There's a lot of questions I have when we get there, especially because the market's so corrective now. So it might have a bit of a reaction first before we see the big break. So yeah, you're kind of looking for that last minute pullback. Otherwise, a little bit late to the party there with NAS. A little bit late, but I would say US 30 though. I don't think the party started at all. So I would be looking at some longs if you can push a little bit further down. We had a bit of a drop there this morning. But I would look to see if you can fall a little bit further, take out the low here. I think that low is probably going to get taken out. But we've got a really strong level here, around 41,800. A lot of rejection, a lot of wicks at that level. Again, we'll see how price gets there, how we react. But if things look good, I think that's a nice place for a buy. Again, expanding to the higher time frames. Market conditions are still so bullish. So I'm just looking for that next high low in this sequence and a push higher up. And we do have some areas here as well. Should we see a deeper pullback, retest the high, that to me looks like a solid buy as well, and a really nice swing opportunity on US 32. But regardless, definitely looking at buys here for US 30, trying to stick with that high time frame bias. And then S&P is just doing S&P things right now. It's kind of consolidating a little bit, but a nice retest of the high there. That boat has sailed, and now price is kind of trading in that range. I do think we'll probably break higher as well. I think the next best opportunity now with S&P is not to get involved here. Way too choppy. It's probably waiting for that break of that high and then look for some opportunities above that. That looks neat and tidy to me, unless we kind of push back into the low here. You might find a nice little buy there in the low time frame. But I wouldn't be too optimistic. This though could look good, and that could fly as well. So I do like that on the high time frames for S&P. In terms of the DAX, because we were touching upon this one a few times yesterday. Ooh, would you look at that? Okay, so we've pushed back into the low. So yeah, now's the time I'll be looking for some entries for the DAX. Let me just clean up the chart so we can see it a little bit better. Now's the time I'll be looking for some entries for the DAX, because yesterday we're trading so close to the high. Now we're actually trading back at support and right at the low. If we could see some wicks form, some rejection form, which at the moment we're not seeing any of that right now. Market is looking really bearish, and it could just, of course, completely break through. But if coming into the afternoon we see some rejection, see some wicks form, momentum close in favor of the buyers, there could be some nice buys off this low with some stops underneath. That's the key thing we're looking for. If not, of course, we could break through and go a lot further. But I still like the buys because, again, expanding to the higher time frames, you can see how consistent the market is with these higher lows. And I'm looking for that to repeat, essentially. But if we do go and break through, then, yeah, I'll throw my hands up and then reanalyze and see where we could go from there. Maybe price wants to come back and retest the high again. But still that support for me right now. And since we haven't got candle closure until the next hour and 15 minutes, the buy is still invalid. It's still valid till then, unless we see a strong candle closure below, and I'll rethink things. But for now, I'll still keep an eye on that area. And of course, UK 100, probably not much to say with this one. Oh, okay. No, we have a bit of a move there. So we're not far off this support level. That's essentially where I said buys look good. I said it a long time ago, probably around here, which is easily over a month ago. But I like this level. A lot of wicks here, a lot of rejection. I like that place for a buy there for UK 100. Not too far away. Hopefully, you can come back and retest that and find some longs there. But yeah, I wasn't expecting that bearish move. Hopefully, you can find some buys around 81.20 and take it higher up. But overall, for the indices, I'm still pretty bullish on across the board, even for like the Japanese index as well. I think that that's got room to the upside there too. even though it's already looking pretty bullish. Probably go for a bit of a retracement at some point, but I do think that will keep pushing us a lot higher. How is Bitcoin doing? Okay, Bitcoin's finding it a little bit difficult around 73K. But I have to say that candle closure yesterday is immaculate. Very, very strong, huge candle closure. Yes, a bit of a wick there, but we've broken through that 70K level like it is nothing. So yeah, to me now, if we can pull back for Bitcoin, that is a buy opportunity to take price higher. Because the channel is well and truly broken through. So Bitcoin to me is definitely a big buy. Because if we are going to break out similar to how we had the momentum here, you could see price really fly. It's just about how big the pullbacks will be, how frequent they will be as well. But for now, 70K is definitely the area that looks good to me. Hopefully you can see some downsides this week, potentially. It's only Wednesday. I see some downsides, some buys there later on. I would say, though, Ethereum has got some work to do. Yes, it's seen some upside, but not much. Still stuck in that range. I need Ethereum to blast through that high. Give me something similar to Bitcoin before I start to get my hopes up with Ethereum. But again, if Bitcoin is going to see that big push to 80K and beyond, then of course Ethereum will follow suit. But it is taking its sweet time, though. It is taking its sweet time. So hopefully a break of that high, that looks like a good opportunity. Right now, I wouldn't touch Ethereum at all, as we're still stuck in that consolidation. But I'm pretty bullish there. And DXY, looking for some downside there. How did we close? Okay, so we left a big wick to the downside. So that's not a good sign at all. We need to see momentum pick up to the downside. We've had some nice rejection there of the highs, but that break of that ascending channel is good. It broke out, but momentum is still so sluggish. So if we don't fill that candle, and let's say we get a strong bullish close, that's not a good sign there for the sellers there for the DXY. Otherwise, we could definitely turn around and potentially even go and break the high. So I'll see how that next 4-hour candle does close in the next 3 hours. If it does flip bearish and fill the wick and close bearish like that, that's a great sign. At that point, probably will get that big move to the downside there for dollar. Otherwise, yeah, price might turn around. So we'll have to keep an eye on that for the DXY. But I'd imagine in terms of gold, we're still looking relatively bullish. Bit of a wick there in the last 4-hour candle, but it's probably a sign that the market's probably going to start to look to retrace soon enough, which is good because we're due one. EFX, what's up? Pound Industry looking for a retest. I'm looking for probably the same opportunity as you, 2.155. Yeah, I'm looking for buys in that area. That is at the top of my watch list at the moment. So yeah, we'll take a look at that in a moment. If you guys are enjoying the stream, by the way, please be sure to drop a like and subscribe to the channel as well. Make sure you do go and hit the bell and check out the Elevating Traders Discord channel as well. Completely free to join. Link to that in the description and at the top of the chat as well. But I appreciate everyone who has liked the stream so far. But yeah, we'll go through that pound ends the opportunity. Holy One. Will you trade it over the weekend? Good question, actually. Good question. Will I trade over the weekend? Yeah, probably. Yeah, to be honest, yeah. I mean, I've never really looked to trade crypto over the weekend at all. But I think in the current circumstance, it makes sense. But then again, we don't really tend to move much during the weekend either, unless something crazy happens in the crypto world. Crypto, of course, does move a little bit, but it doesn't really pick up momentum until Monday. So I probably can get away with it in terms of wait until the following week to enter. But because of the circumstance and because of the momentum that could be at play, I think taking a trade during the weekend might make sense during this situation if it does arise, of course. But um, yeah, I tend to keep the weekend to no trading because I like trading during the week and having the weekend where markets are closed. I can analyze, review my trading, and go again. Um, but in this circumstance, I don't think I can say no to that. What about you, Holy One? Would you take the trade? But yeah, for pound NZD, as I mentioned, I like the longs. I like the longs with pound NZD. I'm looking for buys around 2.158. You're looking for around 2.155. So very much in a similar situation as me as well. I think the key thing we're both looking at is the big break to the upside, price taking out some major highs, especially on the full out chart there as well, taking out the highs there too. So now I'm looking at a correction of that move for some higher lows and a push back into 2.188 or 2.19 roughly. So looks like we're looking at a pretty similar move there, UCEFX. But I like the buys there. They look really good. And hopefully we can swing it back to where it came from. Yeah, I mean, similar situation to me. I can't remember the last time I took a trade on the weekend. Of course, it would have to be crypto because FX is closed, but I can't remember the last time. Even when I did trade trade crypto, it would be during the week as well. It wouldn't be on the weekend. But because of the situation we're in, price might just keep flying. It might be lucky enough we get a retest or a pullback during the weekend. So yeah, I think I would go for it in these circumstances, but on average, I just like keeping it to the week. Same as you, really. As long as you're managing your risk, there's not too much at stake. News in 8 minutes. Which news are you referring to? Are you talking about the balance of trade for euro? I've got that as low impact. We've got GDP later today though at 12:30. We've actually got ADP employment change for USD at 12:15, which is in about 20 minutes from now. And then we've got GDP for USD as well, which is about in half an hour from now. And then you've got yeah, that's pretty much it. And inflation rate for Germany as well. But in terms of USD, you got a couple of news events to watch out for there. Okay, nice one. Nice one, EEFX. Need to now pronounce your name better. Eric, long your receipt share for. Okay, we'll take a look at that entry. I mean, I'm looking at a move lower, but wait, are you currently in the trade or are you looking for price to? I mean, we'll take a look now. Okay, ADP at 12:15. Yeah, I'm looking at the same news. So yeah, I'll probably keep an eye on that. But for Euro CHF, you said 0.935. Let me mark that on the chart. 93535. Okay, so you're around here-ish, or bang on the money actually. So are you currently long from there? Are you looking to buy if price was to get back there? I mean, in terms of my bias for Euro CHF, I'm pretty bearish, looking for a push into that low. Sure, there is probably a big move to the upside to be had there if you're a CHF, but I would wait for a move back down there first before discussing some buys. And to be honest, I wouldn't really be looking for buys at all in my situation, because overall the market is still pretty bearish. You can see how we've been falling there with the low lows and low highs. So um, my bias, my directional bias would be to keep looking to short overall, and are expecting us to push back into the low. If we're going to go long, then I would want a price to give me some break of structures first before I would look for something like that. I know we've held support really, really well here, and we've been dancing at the low. And depends what type of move you're looking for, as well. Whether you're looking for, a push back into, resistance here, looking to catch a buy like that and call it a day, that makes sense. Or are you looking for a big swing like this all the way back into the high there? I think either way, it makes sense for both moves, but I definitely would be looking to secure profit around here, because this is where we've got a lot of evidence of price failing to break through. And effectively, all your CHF is doing is just rejecting support and rejecting resistance here, and just building up, building up, building up, eventually for either a big move up or a big move down. So either way, there's a big move to be had. But if you are long, this is definitely where the sellers are sitting and where we're finding it really hard to break through. So securing some profit there, stop to break even, or however you want to tackle it, partial, however you want to manage the trade, would be a sensible approach. Not to say that we can't break out, but in case we were to sell off again and just repeat what we've been doing for the past month, really, I think it's a sensible idea to look to secure some gains there. So yeah, with USCHF, there is a possibility to the upside since we're having, a lot of trouble breaking through 0.934. But I think this is a big obstacle with which you need to be prepared to manage the trade from. All right, take care. We'll have a good one. Okay, hope you want to have a good one as well. Okay, you're already in from yesterday. Okay, so if you're already in the situation, if you're already in the trade from there, then yeah, price has already had a nice push. Where's your target for the trade? How big of a move are you looking for? Because if for example, if I was in a buy from there, I would be looking to start to trail my stop loss from now, after coming to this level. I may be looking for a bigger move to here or whatever or wherever, but I'll definitely be being a bit precautious now that we're in that area and already forming some big wicks there too. So I'd watch out for that. But yeah, just because of the higher time frames, I still do have a bearish bias. So that's why I wouldn't be looking too long at the moment. But it's a nice profit though, so congrats on that. Just watch out on where we're trading right now. But yeah, currently still in Euro USD. Yeah, DXY has seen a lot of upside. I'm going to see how the next candle does close in the dollar, because if we kind of break back inside or close strongly bullish, that could take us push to the upside there. But because we're still below that channel, I'm not going to close the trade or cut losses too early, because we could still very much sell off. But it'll be important to see what momentum does, because that is a big wick there. And if we were to close strongly bullish, that's a sign that the bearish momentum has completely failed and the buyers are back in control. So definitely have to watch out for that. But the key thing is we're still holding on to resistance as well. So the key element, the key thing that is making me think that we can see a bit of retracement for dollar is this level, which is still intact. So that's a good sign. The news probably later today will probably give us a nice indication of what dollar's expected to do next. But yeah, definitely right. Big wick there to the downside. And we have retraced that. But this next 4-hour candle will be very important, because it will encompass all the news that's going to happen this afternoon with ADP and of course with GDP as well. But anyway, guys, we have come to the end of the stream. I will be live again later, not later today, later this week. Of course, Thursday, Friday, on my channel as well. So if you guys are free, feel free to pop in, say hi, chat with us. We'll go through setups, look at any trades, of course. So if you are enjoying the streams, please be sure to drop a like, subscribe to the channel, And of course, make sure you do go and hit the bell as well so you don't miss out on any streams or uploads in the future. I really do appreciate everyone who has liked the stream, subscribed. It does really help out. And yeah, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure you go head over to Elevating Traders Discord channel, completely free to join. Link to that is at the top of the chat and, of course, in the description below. Make sure you go check it out if you haven't done so already. Discount opportunities there for Elevating Traders challenge accounts. And of course, you can chat with other traders, including myself, about different trading opportunities and what you are looking at. So if you are interested, make sure you go head over and check it out. But guys, really appreciate you tuning in. Have a great day, great afternoon, and I'll catch you all in the next one.